Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello and a very good evening from the UK. My name is Dr. Madelenechan and I will be broadcasting the film and music show on the beautiful, phenomenal USA Global TV and Radio. So good evening, USA Global TV and Radio viewers, and to Facebook and to Instagram and to our LinkedIn. Before we bring on today's guest on the film and music show, I would like to share with you all some exciting news. Yes, we have, as of today, today's stats for USA Global TV and Radio YouTube channel. We have 48,422. That means in the last 28 days, we've increased 2,699. So all I'm going to say to all of you is please continue. Thank you for all of you that have reached out, that have become subscribers to the mothership, USA Global TV and Radio. But remember, we are evolving and growing, so we wish to have more people to come along and subscribe. So please do. The channel, USA Global TV and Radio, stand for Hope, Education. We give you the platform to help you promote your brand, branding awareness, to help you share your life story. We have 30 different programs on USA Global TV and Radio, and we're always looking out for new people who want to have their own show, people that want to become a co-host, and people that would just love to advertise their brand. We are all in a worldwide community, and the mothership, USA Global TV and Radio, is growing at a phenomenal rate. But we must keep on fueling her. So, as for today's guest, before we bring her on, I'd just like to give you a little bit of information on this amazing, amazing woman. She has won the International Songwriting Competition, which is held in Nashville, for World Music Winner. She's gained media attention across 11 countries. She performs at many festivals around the world, performing jazz, world music, Sufi, and folk music. She's known as ethno-jazz electronica music. She speaks 7 languages. She writes in 2 languages. Well, actually, it's 3 because include English as well. So 3 languages, Urdu, Hindi, and English. She composes her music for synchronization, live synchronization for films or for series. And also, she has her own workshops, which she conducts for music academics. I would like to say for you all, for film and music show for this week, please welcome the inspirational, super talented Maham Suhail. Yay! Come on!
Hi, Madeline. Thank you for having me. Thank you. Yeah. And thanks to Dr. Jacalyn as well. Pleasure being here. And thank you for your lovely introduction as well. Yeah.
You're very welcome.
You ladies are powerhouses yourselves, like so much, doing so much, like in your own respective capacities. And it's awesome, yeah, to see, really. And yeah, really pleasure being in your company today.
Thank you very much, Maham. What I would like to talk about is, can you actually share with our viewers from your side now what you would like to give a brief summary of your work?
Right. Summarizing is always like, my mom sometimes also makes a joke of it. She's like, yeah, yeah. Summarizing is something which I always, well, I'll try to. So basically, okay, so first of all, my name is Maham Suhail, for those of you who are not familiar with me already. And I'm speaking here from my home studio, my space in London. And I moved here on a global talent visa recently. And I'm very grateful for that as well. It's supposed to be a prestigious one. And yeah, being acknowledged for my work and my profile within music primarily. But then I grew up writing a lot of poetry, working with a lot of spoken word. I'm a published poet. I have a book as well, a poetry book, titled Shades of Grey, from back 2008, much before the 50 Shades of Grey. Anyways, and yeah, so that's my poetry book. And then I've been singing. I've recordings in like 7 languages, including a few regional languages from Pakistan, and also of course English, Urdu, Persian, etc. And then I've been performing since a long time. I've been performing with my band lineup. I'm also in the process of forming a band here, but meanwhile I've been really thoroughly performing with the free improvisation community around here. I also work as a composer, as a multimedia sync composer. And currently, like, I'm in conversation, for example, so there's always conversations going on with filmmakers. So we are in the pre-production phases of discussing the music for his short film. And also I have like this one song of mine from my catalog, which has been which licensed to a Canadian web series, the episode of which is airing next month on the National Canadian TV. More details on that later near the time. And I produce as well. I've been producing for a while. I've been working for not just Sync, but also, and on not just from own productions and for Sync Media, but then also sometimes producing for other artists and poets as well. What else? I don't know. Please just go ahead and ask me. And yes, of course, I also, the educator intro that you gave right there, Madeleine. Yeah. So I've conduct workshops. I've been doing a lot of community projects like that, primarily with music, but then also with like the arts in general. And also a bit of songwriting. Lately, I did one where it was an interactive soundscape that we created with Revolution Arts, and they're based in Luton. So yes, so yeah, in a nutshell, I'd say this is what I do, and essentially, yeah.
I've got to congratulate you. That's a whole lot of content, and you've covered so much in your life up till now already, is in your creativity and your passion and your projects. Now we're going to go in a little bit of a time capsule right now, okay? And we're just going to go back in time. When you were younger, what inspired you to follow your creative passion? Like, for example, you did your writing. Yeah. What inspired you?
Right. So that's a whole, well, I mean, so basically, as a child, I grew up listening to a few different forms of music, and my father's music collection was quite inspirational for me at the time. And I'd pick songs very quickly as a singer, and I think I had the mind of a composer, even back then. So I was really into melodies and tunes and picking them very quickly and then translating those through my voice. And I went to Sacred Heart. So I don't know, maybe not a lot of people aren't aware of this, but we have a Sacred Heart back in Pakistan, in Lahore as well, the city I come from. And it's a very historical institution, and the same like the Sacred Heart in the UK, and we had the school choir. So I was always singing in the school choir, like mezzo soprano, and because I've always had like a wide range, like, vocal range. And then also playing the melodica in the school assemblies, like songs like Rasputin and soundtrack from Sound of Music, etc., classics, and then I would especially take after school piano lessons. So with my first ever like formal music teacher, Ma'am Rishane, and yeah, she's still there. She's still teaching at Sacred Heart, actually. So yeah, so I would play the piano, I'd sing, and I'd play the melodica, and then I was also acting in school plays and all of that. And then just after school, I mean, that's around the time when I was in the ninth year, eighth or ninth year, I started writing poetry properly, and I was really very much into observing social phenomena and the society around me, and also underprivileged and marginalized communities of people. And, I was always observing these social phenomena as an outsider from a certain distance. That's how I'd feel I'd feel a bit of an outsider. So yes, so I was writing poetry thoroughly as well, and then drawing a lot also. And I'd draw a lot of, like, I'd make a lot of portraits. I'd illustrate portraits of a lot of music artists and celebrities, sometimes actors as well. So the music was always there, poetry was there. And then gradually also I was developing this growing interest in drawing, which later translated into art photography for me. This is something which, again, not a lot of people know about, but one of my artworks has been selected for the Exposure Photography Award back in 2015, and that was part of this digital display at the Louvre Museum, Paris, as well. So I've been displaying some photography alongside, but that has been a little bit slower in the past years. But I'd like to come back to more like audiovisual kind of experiences with my live music as well, to share with my audiences and fans in the future. So yes, quite a multimedia sort of an experience while growing up, I'd say. But music somehow for me, singing and then playing the piano, and then later also I started writing these short pieces on the piano. I'd come up with these melodies as a teenager, and then also alongside working with a lot of spoken word, beat poetry, jamming with a lot of underground musicians, writing lyrics for them. So that's how my teenage was like, also rebelling against a lot of social phenomena that was always there as well, which I think later translated into my musical recordings. Also in some of the songs, there is this element of, empowerment, liberation, a bit of resistance in subtle ways. Yeah.
That is quite a lot of it. You are certainly a creative heart. You're exceptional. And the fact that you do the art as well, do you feel that do you do your own design of your CDs?
Oh, thank you for asking that, Madeline. Yes, actually, yes, I've been doing, let me see. I mean, it's not too far from where I'm sitting. So I have a few art prints of mine as well, which I've been somehow putting on my merch tables sometimes around here, or, when I've been, during concerts, otherwise in other places. Yeah, so for my Mitti album, actually, which entails 7 tracks, and the very idea how I came about to framing the Mitti album is that it's a travel compilation album, because you see, it was recorded in a few different places, even within Pakistan. And then since I've had a bit of a nomadic lifestyle in the past years, I was living in Spain, and then the flamenco music it took to my fancy. And then I studied their rhythmic patterns and somehow mixed those with South Asian tabla patterns as well. So yes, so even in Dil Mi Rawad, which is a Persian title, so the lyrics are primarily Persian. So this Persian song that are recorded to flamenco instruments mixed with Mediterranean and South Asian influences, so very ethno-jazzy kind of a piece. And the music video has some of my artwork in the backdrop as well. Actually, it's there on the green screen against the flamenco dancer in the video. And then yeah, also one of these performance videos of mine at the Opera House, the Palau Les Arts y Sciences. I'm sorry, I'm not exactly speaking of, I'm not really doing it in the Spanish accent, but yeah, so on there also we had like a backlit projection screen, and that's, I think, one of the best audio visual kinds of concerts that I've had till date, I'd say. So that has my artwork as well in the backdrop going with the music. And then yes, also for my cover art, yes, sometimes for Mitti album I've used one of my artworks for the cover title, for the, sorry, cover art of the album itself. And then for certain singles as well, Coming of Age being one, for example. It's a bluesy alternative blues rock sort of a single of mine, which is not part of the Mitti album, but a separate one. And then, yeah, a few other songs as well. Yes, I've been incorporating my art, my, modern art prints, into the cover art designs for these singles and album artworks as well. Also, Parisufna, my EP. So Mitti and Parisufna are my larger projects till date, and they're very folkish in their elements, in their in their essence. Yes. So yeah, definitely. And I love, usually also, I mean, always I've loved the overlaps between different mediums and art forms. I've been kind of eclectic that way always, I believe. Yes. And love collaborating with artists across media as well. Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. But Maham, I want to ask about the international songwriting competition. I mean, I heard about this when I used to live in Malta, and there was so many people that was going for this, and I was thinking, how on earth can you win in certain category of this, because it's extremely a difficult competition for songwriters, because you are competing against worldwide songwriters. So for you, the international songwriting competition held in Nashville, you actually won the category of the world music winner. Can you tell our viewers?
Oh my God, I'm sorry.
Feel about all this?
Yeah, I have to go over. I mean, I have to sort of refresh my memory what song exactly this was, because I remember this was a bit. So there was a series of wins those days. You probably know about Unsigned Only as well, right? So Unsigned Only and the International Songwriting Competition. These both these are big. They're supposed to be like prestigious ones, but Unsigned Only, of course, like maybe a step down from the ISC, the International Songwriting Competition, but they're both very popular, songwriting contests from Nashville, both of them. So yeah. Now I'd have to. I think this was Pona Che or Pona 6. I'm guessing which was the winner for the ISC's World Music category, because Pona 6 was also a Fandemonium category winner at Unsigned Only 2019, I believe. Yes. So anyway, so basically, I'd already been participating in the Unsigned Only competitions consecutively in 2019, 2020. And then I think ISC was 2021, perhaps, because this was all kind of very, these were consecutive years. So I think 2021. Anyone who needs to go back and check can always go to my Instagram, because yeah, it should be there. It should be in one of the posts to check exactly what year. So because I was part of the Unsigned Only community that way, you can say, because I had some wins in some of their categories, so they also encouraged me to get into the ISC competition for the following year. So one was this, Secondly, Pona 6 for my Western audiences, and Pona Che for my the audiences who understand what Che is. So Che means 6 actually in Urdu, and Pona means quarter to, interestingly. So anyway, so this song also came out in 2021, and including also its music video. So it was a fairly recent release, one being that. Secondly, like I just mentioned, I was encouraged by the Unsigned Only guys to enlist myself in the upcoming ISC competition. ISC, ISC is International Songwriting Competition itself. So ISC 2021. And third being, I guess, the fact that Pona Che or Pona 6 alternately had also been getting a lot of traction, and it was featured on Rolling Stone India. It was written about by some prestigious publications, including Eastern Eye England, and also got radio plugged to a few radio stations. There was a lot happening around it. I remember those days. So that itself also gave me a bit of a, a push to submit this one particularly, this song. And also another interesting thing for a lot of people who probably, they don't know about this, but Pona 6 or Pona Che is also the song that I played to Robert Kraft. Okay, I'm sorry, like no boasting here, but it's just like, I think I need to mention this, So Robert Kraft is this multi-Grammy award-winning composer and also the ex-president of Fox Entertainment. And he was visiting Berkeley, Valencia during the time that I was studying there. I was doing my music production master's at the Berkeley, Valencia campus. And we had this opportunity to play one of our songs each, just a few, like, on a first come, first serve sort of a basis. We could apply to get some feedback from Robert Kraft himself. And I got the slot where I could play my song in front of my entire batch to Robert Kraft. And I remember, when I played the song to him, he was like, okay, so basically I played the song. I fingers crossed, crossing my heart. I'm like, okay, right, let's see. He's a big guy, let's see what he says. So I remember watching his expressions, whilst Pona 6 was playing, and I think this was probably the music video was yet to be done. So just the song itself, and he seemed a bit like, in awe. I mean, yeah, and then as soon as the song finished, he's like, literally, his words were, "Oh my God, this is beautiful, but what the hell is it?" It's like, it's beautiful, but I haven't really heard anything like this before, And I'm sorry, I'm also like, just, I'm sorry, my phone is sort of appearing in the screen. I wanted to also make a short video snippet, while I'm narrating this particular story. So yeah, so anyway, and Robert Kraft is like, I've never listened to anything like this before, because Pona 6, when you go later, for you, Madeleine, Dr. Jacalyn, who's always listening, watching, or, any of the audiences, please feel free to go back, go into my YouTube or, my Spotify or wherever, Apple Music, and listen to it or watch the video itself. And yeah, it is that kind of it's a bit experimental, a bit alternative. Oh, good. Thank you. Yes, this is amazing. So, yeah. So it has this very eclectic sort of blend of the sitar and the dhol instrument, which is, again, one of my trademarks of world music, where I recontextualize folk instruments. I pull them out of their conventional context, and then I merge them with other instruments and forms of music as a composer and producer. So yeah, because of all of these reasons, I think I really was encouraged to go for the ISC competition and to submit Pona 6 or Pona Che to that one, particularly 2021.
That's phenomenal. Maham, I need to just, what would be interesting is the way that what we've been talking about. I find it intriguing how you fuse ancient music like Sufi, and blend it with Latin or flamenco. You bring an edge to it through. Am I right in saying this, electronic music?
Yeah.
What can you explain what this? I mean, this is fascinating. This absolutely is astounding. How did you manage to do this? This is superb.
So yeah, that's the thing, Madeleine. Now imagine what all goes on in my head. It's like a crazy place, right? So I mean, yeah, people who know me and who know me closely enough, they know, it's a bit of a so, well, I mean, and also honestly, like back in Pakistan, because I was training with a few ustads or gurus, And then also I was a scholar at the ITC Sangeet Research Academy. Sangeet means music, um, in Hindi essentially. And I was studying with, it's, again, I'm fortunate. I'm not, I mean, I'm no one. I mean, it's all really, honestly, it's a blessing. And I've been working hard, and I've been supported by a lot, I would say, after a certain point when my parents were convinced that, yeah, she really has it and she's at it. So yeah, anyone and everyone, starting from my parents, who's been supporting me along this journey, I'm very grateful. So, I mean, again, ITC SRA was a prestigious institute. It had some of the top gurus at the time. Some of these guys aren't even alive anymore, and may their souls rest in peace. And I studied with some of the gurus there. I was also very much involved in the theater scenes there. So one, I think, owing to the very media and multicultural as well influences that I've had while growing up, coming from a family where we were traveling a lot. So I felt I always had a very global sort of an outlook, both to my my personal and my professional lives, my creative lives. Both aren't really departed from each other in any case, though. So I was intrigued by different cultures, and especially, yes, when my raga training started, which I'd never really honestly considered before. I grew up to a lot of Patti Smith. Also, some friends would call me Janice, the 60s, 70s baby boomer sort of influences. I grew up to a lot of beat poets, Western music, and also film music, yes, from the subcontinent. But yeah, and then started delving a bit into jazz, and again, even the pop divas who I'd be influenced by while growing up in terms of the music I was listening to, whether it was Whitney Houston or even you know uh, like the big voices, basically. So yeah, I remember. Yeah, so I mean, there's always this sort of these elements of these jazz pop kind of elements, I would say, in my influences. Then when I got into the raga music, my interest and my fancy for Sufism, not just the Sufi music, but Sufi poetry, and incorporating that into my music, but also Sufism in general as a way of life, as a philosophy, it started developing. Also, I was going through my healing process around that time. So I was doing yoga, I was doing Sufi zikr, and combining a few techniques, and also putting the breathing techniques to use in my music and my singing. So yeah, so when the raga music came in, also thanks to certain classical artists from my family who pushed me in that direction, and thanks to the lack of certain educational resources back in Pakistan, I'm sorry, we don't have a lot of formal programs other than for certain conventional forms of music, and we don't even have proper formal programs for music production, for example, which is why I, with a pinch of salt and a lot of a lot of fear in my heart, I applied to the Berkeley program. But I'm grateful I got into it on a scholarship. So thing is, and then Berkeley came in, and then I started using Ableton more so, and I was already using Logic Pro. I was already putting some of these ideas, acoustic ideas, to practice, including with Pona 6, where there's a jazz guitarist, there's a dhol player, but he's not playing the dhol the way it's conventionally played, this Punjabi folk instrument. And then there's a sitarist, and but then there's also like the bassist and the guitarist are very jazz influenced, and also the melody, the top line that I wrote, and the lyrics for the song also have this, like they're basically composed in the Western chordal kind of, in the Western musical modes of music, right? So this was all happening simultaneously, and coming from that background where I grew up to these, certain rock and roll, alternative, pop, jazz kind of influences, and then also field recordings, sound art came in at a certain point when I was studying art, actually, and I was recording a lot of field sounds. So eventually the integration that happened is very ambient, sometimes very jazzy, has these world folkish influences that you can hear very, very like properly so. And yeah, and sometimes it's folk poetry, and at other times my original poetry. So yeah, so eventually it became like this jazz fusion electronica kind of a mix, that came out. And Mitti album has some of that happening, definitely. um a few singles have that coming of age. Then Sada, yes, the latest release that I've had has this trip hoppy kind of a vibe, and with Urdu lyrics. And you can tell by the way the vocals are performed. You're a vocalist and you're a singer songwriter yourself, Madeline.
Yeah.
So there are some, jazz worldy influences in an ambient sort of a context, even in Sada, the latest release. So yeah, I mean, I don't have one specific answer, sorry, to your question. It always, I always end up telling stories and, deductively talking about, my processes. But it's not just one thing. It's been, it's been a few things going on simultaneously at certain points in my life, which then I would try to put together in more structured format, So, and they always haven't been very structured, and that's fine because, with the free improvisation community in London, for example, it's been very free flowing, sometimes atonal music also that we've played, avant-garde and poetic and all that. So there's that practice that I've had, and then there's the more structured practice that I've had with the band lineup and with lately the solo set that I'm developing. And you'd get to see some of that being performed live as well in venues in London and around, inshallah, soon. Yes. Yeah.
That's amazing. You have so much that you want to share with everyone. It's almost like we have to have part 2, because I've never met a musician, songwriter, and an art. I mean, I don't know, David Bowie, I guess. David Bowie did his music and his visual art as well, didn't he? So you kind of remind me in that respect, in that way. But what I'd like to ask...
Thank you.
You're very welcome. What I'd like to ask is, if anyone wanted to start the journey that you've begun in doing the style of music, could you give some advice to anyone that wants to pursue a journey in music, in the style that you do?
Oh God. Okay. Right. I mean, I would. Okay. Right. I mean, that being this part of the question being a very, being a bit dodgy.
I mean, just short, just short. Couple of sentences.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I'd say that they'd have to be prepared. Actually, when you speak of this, interestingly, the educator and mentor part of me, gets a bit activated mentally, whilst thinking of a response to this question. Because I've even developed like a music therapy course once, and I have been an IB school teacher, so a very innovative sort of an approach to music teaching also that way. I think for somebody who wants to go down this rabbit hole that I've been down and I'm still sort of navigating, so it's a bit of a back and forth sort of a journey as well sometimes, yeah. So and because there's certain experimental elements also in this process of mine. So at times also I have to be wary of the self-doubt that seeps in. And then, of course, meditation and these practices do help to kind of help align myself, and you yourself know, Madeline, you've founder of the Star Child and, Star Child Universe. And, so, there's a significance of meditation, even now, like even this tone that I'm wearing. I think we need to, first of all, be prepared for a lot of challenges that come along this way, because it's, in any case, for any creator to begin with, like this dear friend of mine once said, he's a songwriter, singer himself. And I think I saw him, probably he was on here as well watching Rafe. So he once said to me in a very assuring, in a consolation sort of a tone, that, hey, listen, it's fine. We are artists and we need faith more than anyone else in the world, because we are creating something, and we are creating something, and especially for musicians, you're creating something completely out of thin air. So if we don't have faith in the journey, then how can we kind of convince others to um, follow suit with that? So mindset, first of all, the mindset is, just like with so many other practices, it's very necessary. Second, in terms of training and gaining those skill sets, so be prepared to sometimes have certain sessions, or for a certain period of time, for a certain block of, like, maybe a few months at least. You need to sit with a tanpura. I still use a tanpura till date to practice my vocals, because it's a drony kind of sound, and just two notes actually. The root note and the fifth. So in the Western sensibility, so the sa and the pa notes. So I believe it's very effective. So it helps you practice your baritone and move towards your central, like your root note, and then move upwards. So the lower you go, the higher the lower you practice, the higher pitch you can hit as well then later. So the right kind of practices, the right kinds of techniques, I believe, in terms of training, would be very important to begin with for somebody who's just starting off and wants to pursue a cross genre sort of an approach, like you just mentioned, like something that I've been doing. So so having that kind of vocal training, or, I mean, if they want to sing, for example, even if they want to be a songwriter or play an instrument, so being familiar, getting themselves familiarized with both the Eastern and the Western systems of music, theoretically speaking, without, I don't mean to sound daunting or anything, but at least to a certain degree. I'm not saying you need to ace the ABRSM 8, grade 8, and all of that. You don't even need to do all of that. But having a basic sensibility. Second is to listen to the artist, to have your inspirations and your aspirations very clear, and to listen to their music as much as possible. Third, of course, like, fourth, so mindset, having incorporating the right kinds of training systems, and following those, having a regime for that, a discipline for those different the techniques that you want to train in, primarily, certain maybe a bit of raga based training, and then it's and then getting into the Western systems of a bit of basic theory. Third, I would say listening, yes, alongside listening, and gaining a better clarity of who your similar artists in terms of your aesthetic, even if it's developing only, or evolving that. And then fourth, of course, to surround yourself as much as possible with the people who you feel from the heart are or could be your tribe. So this could include musicians, poets, lyricists, even visual artists, because all of this inspires us to write songs, to make music. Um, and for me, honestly, as an additional element, I really love going into nature and just to sit in silence and to just listen to the sounds of nature, even if it's the, a flowing stream or a river, or the winds, sounds of the winds in different landscapes. So I feel that too. Yeah.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you in every way, nature. But Maham, there are fabulous insights, fabulous tools, the 4 vital keys. Thank you for sharing that. So before we close out, Maham, can you share with our viewers where they can contact you and how you can help them?
Right. Again, thank you, Madeline. By the way, I'm really, I think your questions are quite on point. Thank you. You're actually helping steer me in those directions, to talk about things that I've been wanting to share with the world. So thank you. And of course, it shows, that what a great author, host, presenter, even artist, you being a, like songwriter, singer yourself, you understand all of this. Great. Okay, so
Thank you.
very welcome. So okay, so my email ID, I think, first of all, I mean, of course, please feel free, like, all artists, well, I would say, how the social media is, of course, a very legitimate way of whether it's discovering someone or getting to know them better, or to see, you know, what's the latest that there. But also I have a mailing list, and I check my emails very regularly. One of the first things I do when I wake up every morning. So email is one. So there is my go-to email ID is connect, like, you know, the word connect, CONNECT, connect @Maham, MAHAM Suhail, SUHAIL.com. So connect at maham or -suhail.com, and which also kind of takes you in a sort of points you in the direction of my website, which is itself maham-suhail.com. And then you know, like on my website, on the homepage, the top right corner, if you want to share the screen as well over here, if it's possible, please. So, you know, we have a visual reference as well. I think you opened it just a little while ago as well. So this is my Spotify. You can see my Spotify as well. I mean, the numbers keep dwindling, but yeah, that's how social media works. That's fine. So but then this is my Spotify. Then in any case, on my website, you can find on the top right corner all my social media links, including Instagram, Facebook, everything. You see right here, actually, right in the center, on the top of my homepage, and my YouTube and everything. And then, of course, you have my email ID. And then what anybody could approach me for, like, you know, I love, like, just today, actually, and I'm so happy, one of my really good and old students also wrote a comment on here during our live stream. Ali Shakir, his name is, and he wrote me on WhatsApp also today, and he wants to take revive lessons, and I'm so happy to, you know, hear that. So yeah, so basically I do vocal coaching. You can approach me for that. Also productions, you know, I work across 3DAW, so I can always write songs, I can produce for you, and for collaborations, of course, for singing, performance, live performances. Yes, so
that's fabulous. Honestly, thank you so much. We're actually going over time now, so we need to close out. So I just want to say thank you, Maham Suhail, and I'll see you definitely back. We'll see you for part 2. So please come back. Please do come back.
Yeah.
Well,
thank you so much.
You have. Okay, there you have it, viewers. A very great film and music show episode for this week. Please do look up Maham Suhail. As for me, Dr. Madelenechan, please do contact me if you want to go on to as a guest for film and music show. Please go on usaglobaltv.com/book your session and go on to the film and music with show title and book yourself onto the show. All creative hearts will welcome. I just want to say thank you to our sponsors, Audi K Barrier, in association with Songs for You. Thank you to our amazing producer, Dr. Jacalyn. And thank you, USA Global TV and radio viewers. And I'll see you next week. Thank you so much. Good night. Bye.
We face daily cyber risks, spending over 7 hours of screen time, including 4.5 hours on mobile phones. This convenience comes with significant dangers, with cybercrime costs predicted to exceed $10.5 trillion by 2025. In 2023 alone, seniors lost over $3.4 billion to cybercrime. Our goal is to make social engineering concepts of cybersecurity easier to understand. We work with business teams, senior living facilities, investment companies, and educational institutions, both individually and in groups. We offer real-life examples to help you recognize and prevent attacks, with sessions available both in person, in selected regions, and remotely. Schedule your training session, or to learn more, contact us today. Call us at 847-845-9360. Email us at info@cybersecurityeasy.com. Protect your team and family with cybersecurity easy.com.
My name is Dr. Felix Kravitz, and I am the founder of cybersecurityeasy.com, LLC. We live in a world full of vulnerabilities and cyber risks. We spend almost 4.5 hours a day on our mobile phones. It's over 7 hours of screen time daily when including computer use. We often forget that this convenience comes with risks. Published data predicts that the cost of cybercrime will exceed $10.5 trillion in 2025. These numbers encompass not only businesses, but also each one of us, including our children and our parents. In 2023, the FBI reported over $3.4 billion lost by seniors aged 60 and older. Cybersecurityeasy.com LLC's initiative is to massively support the community by providing cyber safety coaching and improving social engineering awareness. Our goal is to make social engineering concepts of cybersecurity easier to understand. We work with business teams, seniors, and educational institutions, both individually and in groups. We cover various topics from phone phishing attacks to AI-generated voice cloning, robocalls, password protection, and more using life examples. Talk to us today. Call us at 847-845-9360 or email us at info@cybersecurityeasy.com.
Meet Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, President, Founder, and Chief Listening Officer of USA Global TV and Radio. She is a certified life, career, and executive coach. Dr. Jacalyn is the Amazon #1 best-selling author of Behind the Green Screen and Adversity to Awesome. As the listening mentor, she teaches children and their families how to listen at an elevated level through the book series titled The Amazing Adventures of Lady Ella, the Listening Mentor. The Creative Hearts Awakening book series features heart-centric creatives who share their awakening journey. Through the Power of Listening educational course platform, people can get certified as elevated listeners on USA Global TV and Radio. Learn how to center yourself and align with nature through the power of nature, plants, and shrines. The Journey of Chakra Psychology course will educate you on the chakras and their meaning. The Intuition of the Heart course will help you understand how to trust your intuition. Learn how to face the shadows of self and understand the impact of following trends and materialism. Set boundaries and ask for permission to help establish better relationships, deeper connections, and more authentic conversations. Take your communication expertise to a higher level with the course for curious humans. After all, we are not robots. Looking to start your own podcast platform? Get everything you need in the Podcaster Pro package with Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. How can music, breath, and your voice set you free? Find out with the Power of Listening courses. Dr. Jacalyn is a certified meditation teacher, yoga instructor, and Juice Plus distributor. She will help you create a plan for your healthy lifestyle. As an expert in the art of interviewing with over 3,000 hosted and/or produced live broadcasts, Dr. Kerbeck helps her clients stand out as global broadcasters. Dr. Kerbeck's books are available on Amazon. Start your listening journey by reading. Tune into the Listening Mentor TV show, Fridays on USA Global TV, and learn how listening can be your superpower. Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, MBA, DBA, Certified Holistic Life, Career, and Executive Coach, Certified Yoga Sculpt Teacher, Certified Meditation Teacher, The Listening Mentor, Singer-Songwriter, Founder, President, Chief Listening Officer of USA Global TV and Radio. drjacalyn.com. Thank you to all our elevated listeners, team members, animal characters, and co-authors. Contact us at 215-852-9406. Jacalyn at drjacalyn.com.